Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the month of September. What is the astrological forecast for this month that is going to be packed full of unexpected and shocking events? Because September, it starts out with a bang. We have the Saturn squaring Mars on September 1st. And while that is happening, we also have Saturn in a trine to Jupiter, exactly all on the same day. And Saturn squaring Mars is not an easy aspect. Well, for one thing, things feel like they're just not moving forward. Things feel pretty stuck this month. And I gotta say they are, because not only does this event happen, but Saturn just turned retrograde last month, and it is not moving fast at all. Saturn is pretty much almost standing still. It's right there at 19 degrees of Pisces, while Mars is 19 degrees of Gemini. And Gemini deals with our communications. Saturn puts everything in a standstill. And not only that, I feel like there's going to be a lot of shocking events, and these shocking events will definitely entail, well, death and destruction. Absolutely. This is what we're looking at for September. I know it doesn't seem like it ever improves and gets better. Does it? Well, you're right. The planets are in intense relationships. I gotta say, this month, though, is almost like an aftermath of what has been evolving and becoming. And we also had this remarkable sextile between Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And this is extremely rare. I've been talking about this aspect for a long time. And these three outer planets actually represent the collective unconscious of the masses of our planet. And this means everything is in flux, in change, and we can expect there's so many people fighting against this change. Now, that's why it seems so chaotic, because it's inevitable that we're all going to change, and we're going to change our perspective, because really what's happening right now is all of the dirt, corruption, the lies, the dishonesty, all the things that have been going on behind the scenes, underneath the surface, is now being exposed. And with that, there is mass confusion. I mean, ever since COVID and even before that, everything is all coming out, and we're starting to see the reality and the truth. Some people are going to fight against it, and that's why we have so much anger and distrust, and most of all, victimization. Why are we seeing so many people claiming to be victims? And I'm telling you, there's the victim and the victimizer. This is a big theme while we have Neptune and Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is a sign that can deal with victimization. And anytime we have those planets that transit through Virgo, it activates this, such as the faster moving planets that go through Virgo. But this is the theme, the victim, the victimizer, and the injustice around it all. No matter what side you take, there's all this sort of theme going on. And all the issues around dishonesty and untruthfulness and illusions and cults. I've been talking about this for a long time, but these three outer planets are really the result of what we're seeing now. And let me go deeper, because when we look at these three outer planets, we're going to say one day, 2026 and 2027, but 2026 was really the start of the most monumental change ever. Because you know what we're going to look back at? This was the real big jumpstart of AI. And where it's going is going to take us to another realm of awareness, consciousness. Everything is changing now. It's like we're in the eye of a hurricane. We can't see out where we're headed yet because we're in the middle of it. It's so extreme. But so many people are now coming out with truth and facts, and it's affecting all of us. And all of the deep, dark stuff that our society and our world has always hidden has now come to the surface for us to look at. And it is shocking, but it must happen, and it must be healed. This is like a birthing of a new world. And yes, birthing anything is very, very painful. We are in this process now. And no, it doesn't happen in a day or a month, but it's happening right now. One event is unfolding after another. It's incredible how this is, but there's so much anger about the injustices, about the victimization, about, well, really, that we don't feel like anyone really serves, or there's no justice from it. That's what we're seeing from all the ills that have been presented. Where's the justice? Where's the retribution? Trust me, it's coming. That's for one thing. But another thing is that I'm looking at Saturn as it's moving so slow. This is another reason why we feel like nothing's happening. It just seems like a standstill for all of us. Don't you feel like this? Everything's so heavy. It's not moving forward. We feel stuck. That's the Saturn retrograde right now. And it's making us all very frustrated. Now, another thing is about the Saturn and the Jupiter trining each other. This deals with the economy. And believe it or not, Saturn aspecting Jupiter, even though Jupiter is in a great sign, is causing prices to escalate even more. And this is adding to the frustration. How did everything get so expensive in just a few years? There's a lot of reasons why, but astrologically, I'm telling you why. Because this aspect, I noticed, usually came before some kind of serious depression, but it will be short-lived. I will tell you that. But there is some great problems financially in the world. It's not going to go away like we expected really quick here. We've got some heavy-duty problems, and a lot of it can deal with the war, with oil, all of that. And it usually always has historically, believe it or not. You look at the prices of fuel and oil going up, and the prices of everything go up. And this is causing people to be confused and very angry because everyone's starting to look at things, especially groceries and such, and think, how can this continue? And yeah, it will probably continue. But the other thing that I see happening with this is going to involve things with Mars. Mars is starting to speed up here, but while it's being squared by Saturn, look out, the beginning of the month is so frustrating. And yes, from everything that's been transpiring through August, it feels heavy. It feels depressing, kind of. That's what I'm going to say. And like I said, if anyone has any planets, and a lot of people do, and they're old, they're weak, but they have planets in Virgo, in Pisces, and Gemini and Leo, they're going to feel the brunt of it, and they may not be able to survive. So if anybody's in a weakened state, and that's why when you have these really hard aspects occurring in the sky, all of a sudden you see a lot of passing of celebrities and rulers, because they may have weakened immune systems and bodies, and these aspects take them out. You'll see this will be a lot of headers in the news. But this entire month, still we have Ketu standing still at 5 degrees of Leo. Stays like that. It was all of August and all of this month, and even a little bit of July. So 5 degrees of Leo, Ketu stands. And like I've explained, whenever we come around the time of eclipses, and the beginning of September is still eclipse season, it's within the realm of being close enough to the nodes, the sun and the moon, that it still is the energy of this great transformational eclipse. But while we have eclipses, Rahu and Ketu stand still for about 3 months. But this 5-degree mark, I've been ranting and raving about it because it is so important that it's stationed on this fixed star Regulus, which is the star of kings and leaders. And throughout August, throughout September, we're going to see the demise of some very important leaders in the world. Very, very difficult. This is definitely what this means. And then again, there's so much dealing with when we get to the full moon, we'll get to that, that causes even more problems with everything I just discussed. So this month is, it's a weird month. It's really a strange month. So another thing is Ketu being there on Regulus, it's in the nakshatra called Magha, which deals with our ancestors, deals with our heritage, deals with all that came before us that made us who we are in our society and world. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of respect there anymore. The younger generations have no longer respect for what the elders have done to help us. They're mainly thinking about how they haven't helped us, but truly, when I think back at my father and my ancestors, my father was in World War II. You got to understand that was tough. You think it's tough now? You have no idea what tough is. And for them to have fought in such a hellacious, horrendous war in the Great Depression, they went through a lot. They fought for us and made the world better. But now everything, no one has the appreciation for those that came before and how they've helped the world evolve to where it is today. And this is what we need to learn, respect, because they gave us the freedoms and the world that we have. But as the astrology goes, things are cyclic. The ups, the downs, the ups, the down. The pendulum will swing. Don't worry about that. That's going to be the norm throughout our lives. But here's the thing with Mars. Now Mars is in the early part of this month. It's in Gemini. And on September 2nd, it shifts from the nakshatra where it was September 1st, which is treacherous, Ardra, which symbol is a teardrop, sadness. There's lots of sadness. But there's a change that happens by November 2nd, but November 1st, we're there. There is a deep, dark depression. There's sadness, there's tears, there's storms from August. And September 2nd through the 23rd, Mars will be in the nakshatra called Purnavasu, which means return of the light. This will give us hope and a silver lining that things are having to change and will change. So, but yes, there are going to be some good features about this month. Another one that I have is around September 29th through October 4th. This is when Jupiter will transit over the previous eclipse degree, which was 25 degrees of Cancer. And anytime you have a planet cross over the previous eclipse degree, it's a big trigger. So this can be triggering exactly what we need at the time, a healing, a big healing, and opportunities. Good things will come, but I have to warn you, we have a long way to go till we find peace. This is a very temporary aspect. Why? Because unfortunately, soon after this, Mars comes and crosses it. It's not till November 3rd, but let me tell you, November 3rd, look out. There will be mass pandemonium and chaos when Mars hits the previous eclipse degree, November 3rd. So things will be smoothing out until the real anger hits. And here's another big deal aspect this month. September 11th, we have Uranus turn retrograde. And anytime a planet turns retrograde, it stands still and it makes it 10 times more powerful in its effects and everything that it rules. Uranus is the planet that deals with sudden, unexpected, and shocking events. And therefore, anything that's unexpected, sudden, well, this can rule earthquakes. So you're going to see a lot of the world shaking, lots of earthquakes everywhere this month. This is the month that I really think we could have some serious earthquakes, even possibly on the west coast of the United States, but the eclipse path, remember, went through Greenland, Iceland, and Spain. So those are the major points to look for calamities and problems. And yes, Spain just they were overrun with people coming from Morocco all one day. So this is the beginning of difficulties for the country Spain. Why? Because the eclipse path, which is where the eclipse is most readily seen, does go over Spain. Now, the next thing is, with Uranus standing still and intensifying everything that it rules, it does rule electronics, it does rule everything to do with the internet and anything with the media, all of this. There's going to be shocking events with Uranus stationing. It absolutely deals with technology, invention, and this can even bring about some new invention. But the most important thing that I want to say about Uranus, it is called the Great Awakener. And a lot of people are waking up at this time. All of a sudden, everything to do with alien life, the things that have just come out that are exposed, that we've been lied to, many people, as I said, will not believe the truth because they simply don't want to, even with all the facts in their face. So furthermore, I am looking at September 18th because this will be when Mars enters into the sign Cancer, where it will stay till November 12th. Now it's going to go back into Cancer later on because Mars is going to go retrograde, I believe in January, where it will be in Leo and Cancer, back and forth. But for the first go round, Mars will be in Cancer from September 18th this month to November 12th. Mars is debilitated here. This is the worst place for Mars to be. And yes, Mars does rule calamity, problems, anger, war, hostility, weapons, all of the above. So it becomes more intense in this sign. But the other thing is that Cancer actually rules home and family. And this can destroy a lot to do with homes and family, which, in my opinion, is the foundation of our society and our world. And for the most part, it is being destroyed. And furthermore, it deals with the housing markets. Something will shift in the housing markets. I suppose the prices of housing will go down, but it's at the expense of things going up, so nobody can still afford them. And that's why there might be a lot on the market. People can't afford to be in their homes anymore. This is a huge problem. All right, so another thing, Mars is a true big issue this month because when it goes into Cancer, that is a problem. Furthermore, it's going to be out of bounds. And you probably never heard that term, but I also noticed it will be parallel Pluto, with both Mars and Pluto being parallel. And that's like they're in opposition to each other. That's dangerous, very dangerous. Let me explain what parallel is. It's when the planet's declination is that they go out of the boundaries of the ecliptic, which is 23 degrees. So Mars will be 23 degrees, and the northern, and Pluto, I believe it's in the southern, one way or another, they're opposite. One is northern, one is southern, and that's called parallel, but it's called contra-parallel. So it's exactly like them being in an opposition while both are out of bounds, which actually means it's out of control. These planets, Pluto, Mars, that is the worst. It can deal with extremes, with anger, transformational blow-ups. People are crazy right now. That's what you're going to find. People are at their wits' end. They can't take it anymore. All of the lying, the cheating, the disruption, the victimization, all of this emotional stuff, the world is out of control. So another thing is, I looked even deeper into these charts. This is going to be something that is way astrological. Let me see if I can make this really simple for all you laymen out there. And it's that I looked at the divisional charts we use in Vedic astrology. The D9, which is the Navamsha, and the D6, which is our issues, our problems. It's the Satamsha chart. And when you look at the D9, the D6, you can see the issues and the problems that are occurring, which are huge. And it really reflects huge, once again, issues of injustice. Because what I found was, going through this planets aligned Pluto, let's see, yes, it was Pluto with Mars. Now, what I found was that Jupiter, Saturn were creating a T-square with the outer planets in these divisional charts, that is. And Jupiter and Saturn represent the economy, society. This is at its wits' ends. Everything is blowing up. It's all about the economy right now, seriously. Now let me go to this full moon, which I know is going to be tremendous. Yes, I talked about, well, I didn't talk much about the new moon, which happens early in the month. And 2 weeks before, it's going to be that Ketu is close to the moon. So this deals with unrest with the public. this new moon that happens September 10th, as I said, the sun and the moon will be in the same sign as Ketu. And this is like the public, the people are losing hope with what's going on globally in the world. So this is really the darker times I'm talking about. And with the full moon, and the full moon, which is coming about, this is where Neptune is going to, the full moon is September 26th. And it is exactly conjunct Neptune. Neptune deals with fog, confusion, deception, deceit, denial, and cults. And let me tell you something else. A lot of mental illness. You find people, as I'm saying, they're just losing it. They're losing their minds. Things are out of control. So the problems with people with depression, with emotional extremes, is the huge trend that's happening, especially during the time of this full moon. And the fact that it's with Neptune in Pisces, we're going to have all this victimization stuff of the deep, dark stuff that's surfacing, and people are really taking sides, which causes more polarization and problems in the world. But this full moon happens to occur in the nakshatra called Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada symbol is a funeral cot, the back and legs of the funeral cot. And this, as I said, with these harsh aspects in the beginning of the month, a lot of people may not make it through this month. It's a tough one with all of the harsh aspects, especially with Saturn. And let me get to a little bit of hope here, because September 2nd, Venus will go into Libra. And this is one of the best signs that Venus can go into, because Venus is a planet of relationships, but also of peace. And this is what we need more than anything. This is definitely what we need. And so with all the problems, with all the deep, dark, nasty stuff that's surfacing, we need Venus to help us out here. So what I'm getting to is it will go into Libra, but by October 3rd, Venus will turn retrograde. Venus is the planet that goes retrograde the very least. And this will bring hope, because what I have noticed, Venus has this amazing cycle where it forms a pentagram in its process of its retrograde cycles every time it goes retrograde. But what you can find is when Venus does go retrograde, now it goes retrograde about every 18 months, but you can always go back 8 years prior to when it does turn retrograde, because 8 years prior will be where it went retrograde the same exact degree. It's amazing, this whole cycle. So if you go back 8 years from October 3rd, you're going to find that you're going to go back to October of 2018. Think about where you were then. What was going on in your life, especially in relationships. It will return. But the most incredible thing I found about the Venus retrograde, see, Venus is going to be slowing down in September. That's why I'm bringing it up this month. It's making its impact before it goes retrograde. But I have found that 9 months later, the gestation period of a human, after the retrograde of Venus, it gives the ability to bring peace. I've seen this in many peace treaties. I marked it with the Venus retrograde. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened many times. And so what I'm going forward is 9 months later, I believe it's going to be around July of 2027. This is where we're going to feel a true sense of peace. But right now, we've got to go through what we're going through in order to bring to the truth the things that have been hidden for so long. Because if we just keep covering them up, they will never go away. So now it's the time that everything is surfacing, unfolding. And in that, now we know what we have to work on, even though it's dark and ugly. And do remember this, it's always the brightest after the darkest storm. So we are moving to a better place. I know it seems dark now, but it will. But we are moving to a new wake-up period. A birthing of evolution and humanity. It has to be. That's what those outer planets are telling us. It doesn't happen overnight because essentially that their placements where they are will pretty much stay in alignment for about a year. So this process has begun. It is serious. It's big. It's never been before anything like this. That things, the deep, the dark, the dirty are coming out. And now we know what to work on. You can't heal anything unless you know what's wrong. And here is what we're finding out. What is wrong? What has been deep down, covered up? Now we have to extract it, take a clear look at it, and within a period of time, I think by 2027 there will be a peace based on the Venus, and we will be through the worst of these harsh aspects of Mars retrograde going back and forth in Cancer and Leo with Ketu and Jupiter. Trust me, this is terrorism that's upon us. Mars Ketu represents terrorism. Now they're not going to be together yet. But once we have Ketu, well, Mars is going to go into Leo. This will be happening soon. We're going to find that, looking at this, yeah, when Mars, this will be basically in November. So we've got a little time. Things are just feeling kind of yucky this month. And things are surfacing and it doesn't look pretty, and we have to look at it. We have to realize what we're seeing and not deny it. And the way that you can do this is work on yourself, because there's so much going on within our own lives that are unresolved, the things from the past that come up, and we have to take a good look at and say, never again, I need to change this, and heal it most of all. So we will see what needs to be worked on. And as I've said many, many times before, and this is a fact, remember that there is always a divine force that is guiding us. And even though we have to go through terrible things and hardship, eventually it brings us to a great learning, a great understanding, and it is part of the light and the goodness of the divine. This divine force is with us. And remember always, the truth always surfaces, and the goodness will always prevail out of the darkness. And you have to keep yourself aligned to the positive, to the truth. Because I promise you, what is actually happening, and this happened throughout the 60s too, is that we are transforming and we are coming to a much better and higher consciousness. We're evolving as a humanity. So with that, if If you want to learn more about me, get my free newsletter, go to galacticcenter.org. While you're there, do remember that I have the Galactic Planner. You can still get it from galacticplanner.com. And if you have an Android, you can get my Galactic Planner. Does your chart, gives you all your predictions, everything you need to know, and even a feature called Ask Joni, where you can ask any questions about your chart. And from my work, it will give you the answers. And last but not least, if you want to become part of our spiritual community that meets every week, be part of our Patreon group, go to my galacticcenter.org website and you'll find all of this. And if you want to study with me, become my student. We have the university starting the end of this month, semester 1. Become my student, learn Vedic astrology. And it never expires. We meet weekly. And you will learn astrology. If this is something that truly interests you, go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.